Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us back. This is The Power of Now,
Welcome back.
a guide to spiritual enlightenment by Eckhart Tolle, a guide to spiritual enlightenment, ego versus the soul. Now, continuing from chapter 3, part 2, this is moving deeply into the now. Don't seek yourself in the mind. Now, continuing on, accessing the power of now. A moment ago, ego, when you talked about internal, present, and in reality of past and future, I found myself looking at the tree outside the window. Um, I had looked, I had looked at it a few times before, but this time it was different. The external perception had not changed much, except that the colors seemed brighter. You, you were free of time for a moment. You moved into the now and therefore perceived the tree without the screen of the mind. The awareness of being became part of a perception. With a timeless dimension comes from a different kind of knowing. One that does not kill the spirit and that lives within every creature and everything. A knowing that does not destroy the sacredness and mystery of life, but contains a deep love of reverence for all that is. A knowing of which the mind knows nothing. The mind cannot know the tree. Um, it can only know the facts of information about tree. My mind cannot know you. Any labels, judgment, facts, opinions about you. Being alone knows directly. Therefore, is a place for mind and mind knowledge. It is the practice realm of day living. However, when it takes all over aspects of your life, including your relationships with other human beings and with nature, it becomes monstrous parasite that, unchecked, may well ending up killing all life on the planet, finally itself by killing its host. You have any glimpse of how timeless can transform your perceptions, but experience is not enough. No matter how beautiful or profound, what is needed and what is concerned with is permanent shifts in consciousness. So break the old pattern of present moment denial and present moment resistance. Make it your practice to withdraw attention from past future whenever they are not needed. Step out of the time dimension as much as possible in everyday life. If you find it hard to enter the now directly, start by observing the habitual tendency of your mind to want to escape from now. You will observe the future is usually imagined as either better or worse than the present. If you ever imagine future is better, it gives you the hope of pleasurable anticipation. If it is worse to create anxiety, both are illusionary. Through self-observation, more present comes into the life automatically. The moment you realize you are not present, you are present. Whenever you're able to observe your mind, you are no longer trapped in it. Another factor has come in, something that is not in the mind, the witnessing presence. Be present as the watcher of your mind, of your thoughts, emotions, and as well as your reactions in various situations. Be at least as interested in your reactions as the situation or person what causes you to react. Notice also how often your intention is in the past or future. Don't judge or analyze what you observe, watch the thought. Feel the emotion, observe the reaction, don't make a personal problem out of them. You will feel something more powerful than anything those things you will observe. The still observing presence itself behind the content of your mind, the silent watcher.
Intense presence is needed when certain situation triggers a reaction with a strong emotional charge, such as when your self-image is threatening, a challenge comes into your life that triggers fears, things go wrong, or an emotional complex from the past is brought up. And those intenses, the tendency is for you to become unconscious the reactions or emotions takes you over. You become it. The act of it. Wait, you act out of it. You justify it wrong, attack, defend, except that isn't you. It's the reactive patterns that mind and its habitual survival mode. Identification with the mind gives it more energies. Observations of the mind withdraws energies from it. Identifications with the mind creates more times. Observations of the mind open up the dimensions of the timeless. The energy that is withdrawn from the mind turns into presence. Once you can feel that it's mean to be present, it becomes much easier to simply choose to step out of the time dimensions whenever time is not needed for a particular particle's purpose and move more deeply into the now. This does not impair your ability to use time past or future when you need to refer to the practical matters, nor does it impair your abilities and use your mind. In fact, it enhances it. When you do use your mind, it will share more focuses. Letting go of the psychological time. Learn to use times in practical aspect of your life. We may call it clock time, but immediately return to the present moment awarenesses when those particle matters have been dealt with. And this way, there will be no build up of psychological time, which is the identifications with the past and the continuous impulsive projections into the future. Clock time is not just making an appointment or planning a trip. It's included learning from the past so that we don't repeat the same mistakes or over and over. Setting goals and working towards them. Predicting the futures by means of patterns and laws, physicals, mathematicals, and so on. Learn from the past and taking appropriate actions on the basis of our predictions. But even here, when the sphere of the practical living, where we cannot do without references to past and future, the present moment remains an essential factor. Any lessons from the past becomes irrelevant and is applied now. Any planning as well as working towards achieving a particular goal is done now. The enlightened person's main focus on the intentions is always the now, but they are still peripherally aware of time. In other words, they continue to use clock time but are free of psychological time. Be alert as you practice these so that you do not unwittingly transform clock time into psychological time. For example, if you made the mistakes in the past and learn from it now, you are using clock time. On the other hand, if you dwell on the mentally and self-criticism, remorse, or guilt come up, then you are making a mistake into me and mine. You make it part of the sense of self, and it has become a psychological time, which is always linked to a false sense of identity. Non-forgiveness necessarily implies a heavy burden of psychological time. If you set yourself a goal and work towards it, you are using the clock time. You are aware of where you are, where you want to go. But you honor to give your fullest intentions to the step that you are taking at this moment. If you then become excessively focused on the goal, perhaps because you are seeking happiness, fulfillment, or a more complete sense of self in it, the now is no longer honored. it becomes reduced to a mere stepping stones to the future with the intrinsic value. Clock time then turns into psychological time. Your life journey is no longer an adventure, just an obsessive need to arrive and to attend to make it. You no longer see or smell the flowers by the wayside either, nor are you aware of the beauty and miracles of the life that unfolds all around you when you are present in the now.
Okay, I can see supreme importance of the now, but I cannot quite go along with you. When you say that time is a complete illusion, when I say time is an illusion, my intention is not to make a philosophical statement. I am just reminding you of a simple fact, a fact so obvious that you might find it hard to grasp, and may find it meaningless, but once fully realized, I can cut like a sword through all mind created layers of complexity and problems. Let me say it again. The present moment is all you ever have. There is a never time when your life is not this moment, is not a fact. The insanity of psychological time. You will not only have any doubt the psychological time is a mental disease. If you look at its collective manifestations, they occur, for example, in the form of ideological such as communism, national socialism, or any nationalism or rigid religious belief systems, which operates under implicit assumption that the highest good lies in the future and interfere in the justifies the means. The intimate idea is a point that mind projected future that when salvation in whatever form, happiness, fulfillment, equality, liberation, and so on, will be obtained. Not infrequently, this means the means of letting go there are enslaved torments, torture, and murder people in the present. For example, it is estimated that 50 million people were murdered to further the cause of communism to bring about a better world in Russia, China, and other countries. This is a chilling example of how belief in the future heaven creates a present hell. Can there be any doubt of psychological time as a serious and dangerous mental illness? How does this mean pattern operate in your life? Are you always trying to get somewhere other than where you are? Is most of your doing just a means to the end? Is fulfillment always just around the corner? Or confined to short-lived pleasures such as sex, food, love, drinks, drugs, thrills, and excitement? Are you always focused on becoming, achieving, obtaining, ultimately chasing some new thrill or pleasure? Do you believe that there's acquire more things you will become more fulfilled, good enough, psychologically complete? Are you waiting for a man or woman to give the meaning of your life? In the normal mind-identified or enlightened state of unconsciousness, the power of infinite creative potential that lie concealed in the now are completely obscured by psychological time. Your life loses its vibrancy, its freshness, sense of wonder. The old patterns of thought, emotion, behavior, reaction, desire are acted out in endless repeat performances. A script in your mind, your ego, that gives you identity of sorts, but distorts, covers up reality of the now. The mind then creates an obsession with the future as an escape from unsatisfactory present. Negativity and suffering have their own roots in time, but the belief that the future will be better than the present is not always an illusion. The present can be dreadful, and things can get better in the future, and they often do. Usually the future is a replica of the past. Superficial changes are possible, but the real transformation is rare. It depends upon whether you can become present enough to dissolve the past by assessing the power of the now. What you perceive as future in an intrinsic part of the state of consciousness now. If your mind carries a heavy burden of the past, you will experience more of the same. The past perpetuates enough itself to lack of presence. The quality of your conscious at the moment will shape the future, which of course can only be experienced as the now. You may you may win $10 million, but the kind of change is no more than that ski skin deep. You would simply continue to act as the same condition patterns in more luxurious surroundings. Humans have learned split of autumn. Instead of killing 10 to 20 million people of wooden club, one person can now kill a million by just pushing a button. Is that the real change? No. It is the quality of consciousness at the moment that can determine the future. Then it is what determines the quality of your consciousness, your degree of presence. So the only place where true changes can occur, where the past can dissolve, is now.
All negativity is caused by a accumulations of psychological time and denial of the present. Unease, anxiety, tension, stress, worry, all forms of fear are caused by too much futures and not enough presence. Guilt, regrets, and resentment, grievance, sadness, bitterness, and all forms of non-forgivenesses are caused by too much past and not enough present. Most people find it difficult to believe that the state of consciousness, totally free of all negativity, is possible, and yet this is the elaborated state of to which all spiritual teachers point. This is it is the promise of salvation, not in the illusory futures, but right here and now. You may find it hard to recognize that this is the cause of your suffering or your problems. You believe that they are caused by specific situations in your life and scenes form in conventional viewpoints. This is true. But until you have dealt with the basic problems making dysfunctions of the mind, its attachments to past of futures and denial of the now problems and actually interchangeable. If all your problems or perceived causes of suffering or unhappiness were miraculously removed from you today, but you had not become more present, more conscious, you may soon find yourself in a similar set of problem causes of the suffering, like a shadow that follows you everywhere you go. Ultimately, there is only one problem: the time-bound mind itself. I cannot believe that I could ever reach a point here. I am completely free of my problems. You're right. You can never reach to that point because you are at that point now. There is no salvation in time. You cannot be free in the future. Presence is the key to freedom, so you can only be free now. Finding the life underneath your life situation. I don't see how I can be free now as it happens. I am extremely unhappy with my life at the moment. This is a fact, and I would be deluding myself if I try to convince myself that all is well when it identified itself. To me, the present moment is very unhappy. It is not liberating at all. What keeps me going is hope to the possibility of some improvement in the future. You look at your attentions of the present moment when it's actually taken completely by time. You cannot be both unhappy and fully present and now. What you refer to as your life should more accurately to call your life situation. It is a psychological time, past and future. Certain things in the past didn't go the way you wanted them to go. You are still resisting what happens in the past, and now you are resisting what is. Hope that is keep you going, but hope keeps you focused. on the futures, and this continued focus uh, perpetuates your denials of the now and therefore your unhappiness.
It is true that my present life situation is a result of things that can happen in the past, but it is still my present situation being stuck in what makes me unhappy. Forget about your life situation for a while and pay attention to your life. What is the difference? Your life situation exists in time. Your life is now. Your life situation is in the mind. It's your ego. Your life is real, but the narrow gate that leads to life, it is called now. Narrow your life down at the moment. Your life situation may be full of problems. Most life situations are. But you may find hiding from those situations you can't hide forever may not make you happy. When you hide from those situations and you keep it stuck and stagnant inside your mind, it will become unease and unhappy in your true self. If you embrace your true self, the mind, the ego will be released and your true inner soul will embrace its full potential. When you're full of problems, there is no room for anything new to enter, no room for a solution. So whenever you make some room, create some space so that you can find life underneath your life situation. Use your senses fully, but be where you are. Look around, just look, don't interpret. See the light, shapes, colors, textures. Be aware of silent presence of each thing. Be aware of each space that allows everything to be. Listen to the sounds, don't judge them. Listen to the silence underneath the sounds. Touch something, anything, and feel the acknowledge its being. Observe the rhythm of your breath, feeling the flowing in and out, feeling the life energy inside your body. Allow everything to be, within or without. Allow the essence of all things. Move deeply into the now. You are leaving behind the deadening world of mental abstraction, of time. You're getting out of the insane mind that is draining you and life energy just be slowly poisoning and destroying the earth, especially your true self. You are awakening of the dream of the time into the present. All problems are illusions in the mind. It feels like a heavy burden has been lifted. A sense of lightness, I feel it's clear, but my problems are still waiting for me, aren't they? They haven't been solved. They're still waiting. I am not just temporarily evading them, you're permanently evading them by not facing your true self. If you found yourself in paradise, it wouldn't be long before your mind wouldn't say yes. But ultimately, this is not about solving your problems. It's about realizing there are no problems. The only problems that you have is avoiding the truth. Get rid of the negativity and embrace the positivity. Only situations to be dealt with now or left alone and accepted as part of it, as like an illness of the present moment. Until they change or can be dealt with. Problems are mind-made and need time to survive. They cannot survive in actuality of the now. Focus your attention of the now and tell me what problem you are having at this moment. I'm not getting any answer because it's impossible to have a problem with your attention is fully in the now. A situation that needs to be dealt with, either accepted or yes, why is not a problem? Why making anything into a problem? Isn't it challenging enough as it is? What do I need problems for? The mind unconsciously loves problems because they give you the identity of sorts. This is normal. And it is insane. Problem means that you are dwelling on a situation mentally without there being a true intention or possibility of taking action now, and that is unconsciously making the part of your sense of self. You become so overwhelmed by the life situation that you lose your sense of life and being. Or you've been carrying in your mind the insane burden of hundreds of things that you will or not may have to do in the future instead of focusing on your attention on the one thing that you can do now. When you can create a problem, you create pain. All it takes is simple choice, a simple decision. No matter what happens, I will create no more pain for myself. I will create no more problems. Although it is a simple choice, that is also very radical. You won't make that choice unless you are truly fed up with suffering. unless you enjoy being suffered, because suffering will just make you very painful in your soul. Listen to your soul and embrace, let go of the ego, unless you have truly had enough. And you won't be able to go through it unless you access the power of the now. If you can create no more pain for yourself, then you can create no more pain for others. You're also no contaminant. The beautiful earth, your inner space and collective human psyche, with no negativity or problem making. So if you let go of your ego and embrace your true self, then you could let go of your toxic relationships, the people who've been holding you back, the negativity that keeps you stuck in stagnancy and prevents you from moving on to your full potential. So if you let go of that toxic relationship that you have in your life, you become feeling free of your soul. So stop listening to ego and start listening to your soul, because your soul knows its true potential. And you know deep down in your heart you are stuck. Because when you're stuck, you are stagnant. When you're stagnant, you have no getting out of your situation, and it prevents you from getting to where you need to go, so you can understand your true spiritual journey and potential for your soul connection.
If you have ever been in a life or death emergency situation, you will know that it wasn't a problem. The mind didn't have time to fool around and make it into a problem. In that true emergency, the mind stops. You become totally present in the now, and sometimes infinitely more powerful takes over. This is why there is many a report of the ordinary people suddenly becomes capable of incredibly courageous deeds. In any emergency, either you survive or you don't. Either way, it is not a problem. Some people get angry when they hear me say the problems are illusions. I am threatening to get away their sense of who they are. They have invested much time in a false sense of self for many years. They have unconsciously defined their whole identity in the terms of their problems and their suffering. Who would they be without it? Who would they be without it? A great deal of the people says think or do is actually motivated by fear, which of course is always linked with having your focus on the futures and being out of touch with the now. As there are no problems in the now, there is no fear either. Should a situation arise that you are needed to deal with now, your actions will be clear and incisive if it arises out of the present moment's awarenesses. It is also more likely to be effective. It will not be reactions coming from the past conditioning or of your mind, but intuitive response to the situation. In other instance, when the people bound mind would have reacted, you will find it more effective to do nothing, just stay certain in the now. A quantum leap in the evaluations of consciousness. I've had glimpses of this state of freedom from mind and time that you describe, but past the futures are so overwhelming, strong that I cannot keep them out of for long. The time-bound mode of the consciousness is deeply embedded in the human psyche. Uh, but uh, but what we are doing here is part of the profound transformation that is taking place in the collective consciousness of the planet and beyond. The awakening of consciousness from the dream of matters forms the separations. The ending of time. We are breaking the mind patterns that have dominated humans' life for eons. patterns are that have created unmanageable suffering on the vast scale. I am not using the word evil. It is more helpful to call it unconsciousness or insanity. This breaking up of the old mode of the consciousness, or rather unconsciousness, it is something we have to do or will happen anyways. I mean, this is a challenge inevitable. This is a change inevitable. That's a question of perspective. The doing and the happening is the fact of a single process because you are one of the will totally of consciousness. You cannot separate the two, but there is no absolute guarantee that humans will make it. The process of isn't inevitable or automatic. For corporations is an essential part of it. However, you look at it, it is a quantum leap of the evaluations of consciousness as well as our only chance of survival as a race. The joy of being, the alert you being, the alert that you have allowed yourself to be taken over the psychological time. You can use a simply a criterion, as yourself is their joy, ease, and lightness, and what I am doing. If you isn't, if there isn't the time to covering of the present moment, and life it is perceived as a burden of the struggle. If there is no joy, ease, or lightness in what you are doing, it does not necessarily mean that you need to change what is that you are doing. It may be sufficient to change the how. How is always more important than what. See if you can change and give much more intentions to the doing than to the results that you wanted to choose through it. Give me the fullest intentions to whatever the moment's present. This implies that you also completely accept what is, because you cannot give your full intention to something and at the time resist it. As soon as you honor the present moment, all unhappinesses and struggles dissolve, and life begins to flow with joys and ease. When you act out of the present moment awarenesses, whatever you do becomes imbued with a sense of qualities, care, and love, even the most simple action.
So, do not be concerned with fruit of your action, just give attention to action itself. The fruit will come into its accord. This is a powerful spiritual practice. In the Bhagavad Gita, one of the oldest and most beautiful spiritual teachings in existence, non-attachment to the fruit of your action is called karma yoga. It is described as the path of concentrated action. When the compulsive striving away from the now ceases, the joy of being flows into everything you do. The moment your attention turns into now, you feel a presence, a stillness, a peace. You no longer depend on the future for fulfillment and satisfaction. You do not look into for salvation. Therefore, you are not attached to the results. Neither for failure nor existence or success has the power to change your inner state of being. You have found the life underneath your life situation. In the absence of psychological time, the sense of self is derived from being not nor your personal past. Therefore, the psychological need for becoming anything other than whoever you are is no longer there. In the world, on the level of your situation, you may indeed become wealthy, knowledgeable, successful, free of this, but that is the deeper dimension of being you are complete and whole now. In the state of wholeness would be able to willing to pursue external goals. Of course, but you will not have illusionary expectations that anything or anybody in the future that will save you to make you happy. As far as your life situation is concerned, there are no things that to obtain or acquire. That the world of form or gain or not, of gain and loss. Yet, of a deeper level, you are already complete. You are already complete, and when you realize that, there is no playful, joyful energy behind what you do. Being free from psychological time, you no longer pursue your goals with grim determination, driven by fear, anger, discontent, or need to become someone. Nor will you need to remain active through fear or failure, which to the ego is loss of self. When you hide from your ego, you hide from your true self. When your true self is not embraced, your full potential of your soul mission is not complete with your soul connection. When your deepened sense of self is derived from being, where you are free of becoming as a psychological need. Neither your happiness nor sense of self depends on the outcome. And so there's a freedom of fear. Freedom from fear that's holding you back, keeping you trapped in stagnancy. You don't seek permanency where it can not be found. In the world of form of gain or loss, birth and death, you do not demand the situations, conditions, places, or where should you make you happy. And then you suffer in silence. Silence is fear. Fear gets you nowhere. When they do not live up to your expectations, you hide away and drive away from fear. When you don't embrace love, the true love within yourself, when you hide from fear because of ego, then your true self does not see its full potential. Everything is honored, but nothing matters. Forms are born and die. Yet you are not aware of internal underneath that forms. You know that nothing real can be threatened. When there's a state of being, how can you not succeed? You succeeded already. Okay, everyone, that's the end of chapter 3. Next time we'll talk about chapter 4, which is going to be mind strategies for avoiding the now. Okay, thank you. Have a good one. Bye-bye.